All of my friends have been so flaky lately. Most of them have gotten girlfriends. I understand that they need to spend time together. I'm genuinely happy for them. But what bothers me is that they will make plans with me, even reach out to me first. We make plans to play tennis, go to the gym together, try out some new restaurants or bars, only for them to flake on me. My friend literally makes plans with me, then disappears on the day we made plans, even though I can see he's been online on Messenger. I bump into him at a bar with his girlfriend, and he acts like he totally just didn't flake on me. So I started dating too. I've been casually dating this girl for 2 months. Things were starting to get kind of serious. She'd invite me out with her friends, cook for me, sleep over, have sex, do activities together, and go on dates. I met her twice a week. Then, out of nowhere, she completely ghosted me. I saw her last Saturday. Everything was fine. We agreed to do something last Tuesday. On the day, she's nowhere to be seen. I ask her what she's up to and don't hear back for 8 hours. She said she's been busy and can't make it to the date because her aunt's cat is not feeling well and she's going over there. I just said okay, and assumed she lost interest. I haven't heard from her in 2 days now. She didn't even apologize or try to reschedule. I've been focusing on myself the last few weeks. Working out, eating healthy, reading books, getting enough sleep, and going out solo. But I find myself getting bored and lonely. Is this normal in your mid-20s? I expected most of my friends to get girlfriends and go their own way, but I didn't expect it to be this lonely. Story 1. If it's close friends, that's still a disrespectful move and should be addressed. With regards to dating or newer friendships, I think it's because fewer relationships today are between people who have to see each other regularly or through mutual friends, so it's easier to just mentally detach. Story 2. I was ghosted for the first time a couple of years ago. It was someone whom I thought was a friend. So when I didn't hear back from them, I panicked and began worrying about them. I almost went by their place to make sure they were okay and sent a message saying as much, and that prompted them to respond finally. I felt so stupid, but being an 80s child, it never occurred to me that this was even a possibility. I'm a straightforward person. If you tell me you don't want to be friends anymore, then fine. As sad as it may make me, I'd respect your wishes. Ghosting is just a terrible thing to do. Story 3. People don't want to be seen as the bad guy. They don't want to say, I don't want to be friends anymore, or when it comes to dating, I am not interested. They simply ignore you, thus avoiding the need to say anything. Their conscience is saved. What they don't realize is that it hurts more to be ignored. Story 4. If I make plans with you, I'll be there on time. If I'm running 5 minutes late, I'll let you know. If a better plan comes along, I'll still go with you. If I can't make it, I'll let you know as soon as possible. Story 5. I had a similar experience to this in my early 20s. It was awful, and I ended up moving and finding new friends. Not saying this is what you should do, but my new friends have never ghosted me once. In terms of dating, it's so easy for people to stop showing interest because, in the digital age, all you have to do is stop replying. Move on from these people fast and don't look back. Story 6. Online dating has made it normal. You do not owe a stranger on the internet an explanation for anything. You do not have to explain to a screen name why you have chosen to stop talking to them. It has begun bleeding into real life. 30 years ago, breaking up over the answering machine was bad. 10 years ago, breaking up over text was bad. Now it is normal just to disappear and let them figure it out. Story 7. I've been ghosted after first dates, but after 2 months, that would mess me up a bit. Just be straightforward with her and ask why she's ignoring you. And as for your friends, since they're already flaking on you, you don't have much to lose. Be upfront with them too, but over the phone or in person. Story 8. Texting and dating apps have made communication less in person, and with the next person just being one swipe of the phone away, I think there is a bigger feeling of fear of missing out. So you start a conversation, maybe even plan a date or actually go on a date, but then the other person finds someone else who is similar to you but different enough for them to think, well, I'll give this guy a shot, and then you get ghosted. At least that is my theory. I luckily met my wife in college when it was easier to date and meet people and before Tinder was so widespread. I don't think my self-esteem could have handled today's dating world. Story 9. I believe it has always been somewhat common. The change is that digital connections are more common, and digital connections have always been easier to abandon. Story 10. Ghosting and passive-aggressive behavior are weapons of the weak, my friend. They are not normal. They are a product of people not being able to deal with their own emotions. Do not accept them. Story 11. Gotta ask yourself in a really honest way, are you really important to these people? Are those people really important to you? That being said, don't waste time trying to understand why people are like that. Just focus on yourself and don't give them the sensation that you need them. Otherwise, you will be ghosted much harder. Story 12. Ghosting feels the worst. It's not even like, I don't have time for you, which most people pretend, and that I could understand. 90% of the time, it's, I don't care about you at all, and you're not even worth a reply. Story 13. It is so easy to do. Why tell people why you do not want to hang out when you can do nothing to achieve the same result? It is awful, but people prefer being non-confrontational because it is less awkward. Story 14. I feel you. I've learned to use the word friend very sparingly over the years. Few people have proven they are worthy of that title. Most friends want to hang out, but when it comes down to actually doing it, life gets in the way somehow. As far as dating, I got burned really badly a few months ago, and it still stings. We had an amazing date, absolutely filled with chemistry. We talked constantly, and it was always interesting conversations. We didn't leave to go home until after 1:30 a.m. That continued after the date, then a couple of days later, she got really distant. It was like the air was sucked out of the room, such a big difference in how she talked to me. Then, a day later, she blocked me in the middle of me talking to her about her day. I think women do it out of protection for themselves to avoid conflict and to keep us from knowing the truth, as if that would be any better. All this does is leave us wondering why but never getting an answer. It really affects my self-esteem in a way they will never fully understand. If she would have just said, "Hey, it's great meeting you, but it's not going to work out for me," that would be 10 times better than ghosting. It's not that I deserve an explanation. None of us do. What I deserve is human decency and not being treated like I don't have feelings. Story 15. I had a girlfriend in Taiwan, and we used to hang out a lot. I was actually starting to like her more every day. Gradually, I realized that she wasn't really honest with me, and then I decided not to get too attached to her. I just enjoyed the time I spent with her, and it was fun, but I stopped generating feelings for her. When the time came to part ways, it was much easier to forget her. My view towards everything related to people now is to just enjoy the things I have without getting too attached. I wish I knew this sooner. Story 16. She completely stopped communicating with me. This is totally normal, especially in the United States. Men stop communicating with women, and women stop communicating with men. No one wants to have the difficult conversation. Serious people are a rare find nowadays. She didn't even apologize or try to reschedule. Probably because she's talking with someone else. I've seen that story play out many times. You're not the first person she's done this to. I've been focusing on myself the last few weeks. Working out, eating healthy, reading books, getting enough sleep, going out solo. But I find myself getting bored and lonely. Is this normal in your mid-20s? It is completely normal and exactly what you should be doing. Ironically enough, by doing that, you'll find a good group of people who fit right in. Figure out who you are in this time. It's scary and isolating but critical. The 20s are a very strange time in your life. Your high school and college friends go their own way in life and you do the same. So you're in a really transitional period. This is also why people are so unreliable in their 20s. They're focused entirely on themselves and don't care about anyone else. Story 17. I was dating a guy once, and it was going incredibly well, and then all of a sudden, it wasn't. It was so wild. I even point-blank asked, "Are you okay? Are you still interested?" I gave him an easy opportunity, and he still just couldn't do it. People just don't want to be the bad guy, and people also lack communication skills. The idea of being vulnerable and hurting someone's feelings is the worst idea to some people. I think that's why most people lie, because they think what they don't know won't hurt them. But this guy didn't even lie. He just didn't reply ever again. Story 18. Friends who consistently flake aren't your friends. Personally, if I tell someone I'm going to hang out with them, I will give every ounce of effort to be there reasonably on time, but I expect the same of them in return. Story 19. A lot of comments seem to focus on the girl you were seeing ghosting you over your friends. I'd say some people ghost, some people tell you exactly why they don't like you, and others just drop a text to say thanks but no thanks. 2 months, twice a week, isn't huge. Don't read too much into that. But your friends doing it isn't cool. I have friends that definitely go quiet when they're seeing someone, but I've never been stood up or ghosted. Has your relationship with your friend had anything negative happen? Is there another reason he would have ghosted? If not, then I'd have to say that's pretty bad. Story 20. 29-year-old male here. This more normal than not. This sucks, but if you are anything like me, you eventually become numb to it. Most people are not great in this world. Story 21. For a few reasons, in my humble opinion, we live in a world where we don't take responsibility for our own actions anymore. It's everyone else's fault if we are upset by something. We think conflict is a bad thing unless it's behind a keyboard, instead of a means to help us grow as people and learn about other perspectives. People tend to treat others as disposable, and that's likely because we have more choice. The pool is larger. Back in the day, we had to pick friends or lovers from our village and face the person, regardless of how we treated them. Plus, people naturally just drift in your mid-20s. This is where you see all your friends go their own ways and start their families and such. It won't be until your mid-30s that you start to really connect with friends again, as their kids are growing up or they're getting divorced. Then friends are 100%. Story 22. I'm a pretty transparent and open person. I've been ghosted when I had nothing, but this just allowed me to love myself and enjoy my own company. Now I'm here for anyone that wants to see me, although I'd much rather have some time alone. Quite ironic. Story 23. Being ghosted after dating seems common enough. Women tend to be scared of how people will react towards them. But mates doing it to each other, that's straight up rude. It's more strange that they reached out to you and made plans only to bail. While things happen, I sometimes make plans, but it can be a really hard week and I can't be bothered doing anything. In this day and age, when a text message takes 5 seconds to send, there is no excuse for someone not just giving their mate the heads up. Story 24. I get that you guys weren't together for very long, but she really stopped communicating after cooking for you and doing things for 2 months. Like, really? No explanation of any kind? What kind of behavior is that? This kind of thing is why I have no interest in dating. To answer your question, I think it seems so normal because people have gotten incredibly lazy and get bored quickly, so ignoring someone has become more common. People would rather sit around and disrespect each other than resolve their problems. Modern women also tend to have this idea that they have the power to be extremely selective with men. Unfortunately for them, that is definitely changing. I don't know why this girl you were dating decided that things weren't going to work out. She probably doesn't even know, which is why she stopped communicating. I can definitely tell you that women lose interest over the smallest things, and whatever happened, it was probably small and petty enough that she felt more comfortable being inconsiderate than trying to justify her behavior. Story 25. Is this normal in your mid-20s? I would say yes, and that this transcends generations as well. In my 20s, people were like this too. You're part of an age group that's hurriedly trying to figure things out. I learned that when I approached my 30s, my friend group shrank, but the friends I retained were great people. Surround yourself with great people. Even your best friends need to venture out and do other things. Nothing is static. Sometimes you'll get lonely, and that's okay. Keep working on yourself, because if you waste years chasing people, you may be in your 30s having deep regrets. Best of luck, friend. Story 26. Personally, going solo is sometimes way better than going with people. I bought tickets to a comedy show next week and a Whiskey Myers concert in a couple of weeks, which I will be doing solo on purpose. Just keep doing you. Find stuff that's going on around your town or city and just go. Friends flake, they're lost. Story 27. People who suddenly cut off contact are not ready for responsibility or do not care as much as you, in my experience. I have been ignored by girlfriends and people who I considered to be good friends of mine. But nowadays, it is just so easy to block someone and not worry about them again, hang up or ignore your calls or leave you unread. It hurts. It really hurts because you feel so powerless, and nothing you can say or do will make things different. It has left me with a serious lack of trust in people. Story 28. I empathize with you. Most of my friends have done this. My closest friend, since we were like 8 as we went to school together, gets girlfriends and does this. I finally gave up this most recent time, and we are no longer on speaking terms. I know some people say it's the honeymoon phase, be more understanding. And I have, but this goes beyond it. Blowing off birthdays and ghosting and stuff. That is not acceptable if you are a good friend. That's what I classify as a bad friend. Story 29. Not speaking as a girl, but I have heard a lot of reasoning from girls that some men can completely change and become threatening if they get rejected or if she decides to end the relationship. I can see that, but if it is just about avoiding an awkward, non-threatening situation, then they should mature. If it's a friend ghosting you, then they need to address their issues. I have had friends who cancel at the last minute or see the message and then wait until after or during the event to say, "Sorry, I didn't see this. I'm busy," which is insincere. I haven't cut those people out of my life. One is actually a very close friend. But after it happened too many times, I stopped involving them in plans. If they initiate something, I show up if I'm available, but I do not bother trying to work around them because when I have done so in the past, it backfires. Story 30. My mom, who was 51, had been talking to a guy, 58, for a couple of months who lived a little over an hour away. They talked on the phone, FaceTimed every day, and he texted her throughout the day to let her know he was thinking of her. They made plans, which he initiated, for them to meet halfway for dinner finally. They talked about how excited they both were multiple times. He texted her at 10 a.m. that morning and then never again. She could see he read her messages. She called him once to give him the benefit of the doubt, and he never answered. He hasn't spoken to her since. 58 years old. I have no idea what the logic was behind it. I think sometimes it has to do with the other person more than you. If anyone has any idea why someone would waste their time and do this, I'd love to hear some ideas.